Hello and welcome to your English news broadcast live on ERi-TV. It's exactly 10:30 p.m. on Eritrea's local time from our headquarters at Asmara with your domestic and international news in brief. I'm Zahra Badouri, but first we'll begin with your major headlines for this broadcast. Independence Cup in southern Red Sea region. Activity assessment meeting in southeastern U.S. and more on your domestic. On your international, for the first time, India imported more Russian oil than from Saudi Arabia and Iraq put together. The Eurozone annual consumer inflation rate rose to 7% in April. Welcome to your domestic news in brief. The Independence Cup that commenced its journey in the southern Red Sea region on 30th April toured the trenches of Dotum, Rahaita, Ras Dumeira, and the port city of Asab, accompanied by Ambassador Mohammed Saeed Mantai, governor of the region, Sultan of Rahaita Abdul Qadir Dawood, Mr. Razana Mikhail, Secretary of PFDJ in the region, and Mr. Ali Nur Ali, Chairman of the Regional Assembly. During its tour to the historical areas, the Independence Cup was accorded warm welcome by the residents and members of the Defense Force, featuring military marches as well as cultural and artistic performances. At the welcoming ceremony organized at the trenches of Dahtum, Ambassador Mohammed Saeed Mantai said that Eritrea's history proves that the people of Eritrea do not give away their interests and land, and that the heroic feat demonstrated at the trenches of Dahtum attests to the transfer of Eritrea's trust to generations. Representative of Eritrean community in the southern eastern United States conducted their annual activity assessment meeting in the city of Jacksonville, Florida, on 29th of this April on your second domestic. The meeting was attended by representative of PFDJ, the National Union of Eritrean Youth and Students, the National Union of Eritrean Women, and as well as the YPFDJ organizations from the cities of Atlanta, Charlotte, Miami, Orlando, Jacksonville, and Nashville. At the meeting in which Mr. Berhane Gabrahiwat, chargé d'affaires at the Eritrean Embassy, and Mrs. Adhanat Kalata, head of public and community affairs, took part. Activity reports were presented by the heads of the organization, and the participants conducted extensive discussion as well on the reports presented. The participants contributed $101,500 and expressed readiness to strengthen participation in the national affairs. Mr. Berhane also conducted seminar to participants focusing on the objective situation in the homeland as well as on the significance of strengthening organizational capacity. On your final domestic, the National Committee of Eritreans in Germany conducted its third Congress on 22nd of this April in the city of Frankfurt. The Congress was attended by the representatives of the National Committee from 26 cities in Germany. Mr. Kasai Tolde, head of the Public and Community Affairs at the Eritrean Embassy in Germany, said that the new stage that we are entering requires strong organizational capacity and commitment, and expressed expectation that the Congress, under the umbrella of the National Committee, will design viable action plan and diligently work for its implementation. Mr. Musif Sahaye, Secretary of the National Committee, presented activity reports in terms of achievement registered and challenges encountered, and the participants conducted extensive discussion as well on the reports presented. The participants also adapted the constitution of the National Committee and elected new executive committees, commanding all those that contributed in the successful implementation of the charted out programs of the National Committee. Mr. Kibra Abdekhaste, Eritrea's Consul General in Frankfurt, expressed good wish to the newly elected executive committee. Stay tuned for more on your global reports up next. Welcome for more on your reports on the international line. For the first time, India imported more Russian oil than Saudi Arabia and Iraq put together. India imported about 1.7 million BPD of Russian crude in April, 1.4 million BPD from Saudi Arabia and Iraq and India. Iraq and India, for the first time in April, imported more oil from Russia than from its two other largest suppliers, Saudi Arabia and Iraq. Since the Ukraine war began in February 2022, India's crude oil supplies from Russia have increased steadily thanks to hefty discount offered by Russia. In April, it imported around 1.7 million barrels per day of Russian crude, according to energy intelligence from Vortexa. During this time, Saudi Arabian oil imports stood at 671,000 BPD, while those from Iraq at 812,000. Scorching cheap crude oil is of utmost importance to India, particularly since the disruption caused in the global supply chain by the Ukraine war since last year. The country imported 80% of its crude oil needs. Cheap supplies from Russia therefore helped it to fight energy inflation in fiscal year 2023. Russia became India's fifth largest trading partner with $41.5 billion of imports in the year 2020 to 2021. The figure stood at $5.4 billion. India's Commerce Ministry reports data showed. On your final report, the Eurozone annual consumer inflation rate rose to 7% in April due to a rise in energy cost, meeting the market forecast, according to flash estimated release on Tuesday. The figure accelerated from a 13-month low of 6.9% in March, following 4 consecutive months of decline. Energy prices increased 2.5% year-on-year in April, after decreasing 0.9% in March. Food, alcohol, and tobacco prices are expected to have the highest annual rate in April, with 13.6% easing from 15.5% in March. On a monthly basis, however, the euro area consumers' prices index climbed 0.7% in April. The cost of energy in the single currency zone is estimated to have dropped 0.8% month on month. Dear viewers, that is all for now with your domestic and international news in brief. Do stay tuned for more of your news and the rest of our programs, of course. Until then, these are your major headlines in review. Independence Cup in southern Red Sea region. Activity assessment meeting in southern eastern U.S. and Congress of National Committee in Germany. For the first time, India imports more Russian oil than from Saudi Arabia and Iraq put together. Reports on the Eurozone annual consumer inflation rate rising to 7% in April. Once more, stay tuned for more of your news here on ERi-TV. But for now, thanks for watching.